they're already trying the equipment out with stationary and off-road equipment. And we'll see. DOT has a couple of pieces of equipment at this time that are equipped with these devices. I'm going to be talking to Howard and to Rick Perry, who's running that program now, to see how well they hold up and if they meet the goals.
Thank you, Chris.
There's a lot of technology forcing going on. Finally, I'm going to say greenhouse gases, it's still ongoing at the state. There is a lot of stuff going on with meetings. I was there Friday for a meeting on offsets. It's becoming very bureaucratic and very Byzantine as they get into the implementation stage. And one of the discussions we had yesterday was, you know, should we be able to buy offsets out of the country? Should we be able to reduce emissions in Mexico City to counteract emissions that are going to be occurring in California? And that was a pretty passionate discussion from a number of lobbyists and other representatives from corporations who were there, PG&E, Waste Management. It's going to be very interesting over the next couple of years as these rules are promulgated. Particularly a lot of talk about landfills. Thankfully, we don't have any landfills that are going to be subject to the rules as they first roll out, but it's a complicated area. So with that, I'm going to talk just briefly about open burning. We've had a number of it's actually been a very good year for us in terms of the burning program. Last year was also a very good year. We've had very few no burn days this year. We're getting good mixing. We've had a couple of special incidents that have occurred that have required a little more attention, particularly down in the Gualala area. We had to spend a good amount of time down there in February, and we've also been spending a fair amount of time all winter long on the Simpson Lane area here in Fort Bragg. Inland, things have gotten noticeably better. I'd say in the last 5 years, we're seeing much more cooperation and much more knowledge of the rules. But we're going to be doing a little more of a push here on the coast in the next couple of years, hopefully do some more education and some more outreach. I'm hoping to do some signage as well, particularly on the Simpson Lane area with the potential roundabout or stoplight or whatever is being worked on with Caltrans. There's an opportunity for us to grab a little bit of right-of-way and maybe do some education. We did a project with CDF about 3 years ago, back when they were still called CDF, to help replace some of the signs they had around the county for burn education and fire safety. And hopefully we can get some more signs up as well.
I believe the chief is here, Chris.
Okay. Hey, Steve. I'm not sure if any members of the public want to talk about this issue. Maybe we could open it up for comment. And
is there any members of the public that wish to speak about this open burning discussion? Okay, seeing none. Chief Orsi, do you have any comments in regards to that item? I'd welcome you to the podium. I know you just love to speak in front of folks.
How y'all doing? Steve Orsi, the fire chief of Fort Bragg. Chris basically said it. It's an educational thing. We do have some problems, but I think that I know this last year has probably been one of the best years as far as fire is concerned, as far as open burning, because we haven't had any escapes. The few calls that we've had, people are just they're not using common sense. I mean, a lot of times they're burning vegetation that's wet, that's not permitted. I mean, every time we have an issue, it's somebody doing something that's really not the right way of doing it. And usually after you talk to them and after you explain it to them, the problem's solved. I'm not saying everybody does it, but most people want to do the right thing. I know Fort Bragg Fire and Air Quality is working together to try to get the word out, you know, to maybe work with their neighbors and make it happen. The fire department really does not want to see open burning go away because it helps us a lot. If you get rid of all your stuff this time of year, when it does get warmer, when you know, stuff really gets dried out, it's gone, and that's what we're hoping. So you know, again, we'll just keep working with the public to try to educate them on the right way of doing it, and hopefully it'll solve a lot of problems. If you guys got questions for me, or
thank you, Chief. Any questions for the Chief? Nice and easy.
It was easy.
Thank you, Steve.
Pretty good.
Members of the public, please come forward and speak to this issue. State your name and keep your comments to 3 minutes, please.
Hi, my name is John Bauer. As many of you have seen, I've been before the board before when we talked about the carbon impacts and greenhouse effects and other things that has to do with our vehicles. I own a little fleet of diesel trucks, and they don't operate very often, and those in themselves, plus some of the other equipment that we have, like fire pumps for water company and diesel generators for water company. Those kinds of things don't operate very often, but my real worry is that coming down the line is a set of rules that we will all have to abide by that makes it physically impossible to be an employer that will have to quit and no longer be there to compete and work with the developments that occur in our communities, if there are more developments. Clearly, a diesel truck engine at possibly $50,000 for a truck that's worth $19,000 or $20,000 doesn't make economic sense. Doesn't make economic sense for me to go out and replace my entire fleet for over $1 million when I'm doing very little work in our community. I would hope that there would be some other ways of dealing with some of these issues and maybe holding off some of the impacts to businesses, the economic impacts to businesses such as Bedrock, which supplies all the products in our community, or most of the products in our community, concrete and gravel and sand, plus ourselves, water company, and those kinds of things. If there was a way to reduce some of these impacts to us, boy, I would sure love to be part of those committees and groups, because it's very hurtful right now, and it's been a quick shot at us, and we haven't had a chance to really respond well and deal with it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bauer. Please.
My name is Liam O'Carroll, and I'm from Willits. And I'd like to make a comment in reference to the plan to remove the Willits air testing station. And I would like to request that the board find a way to replace that station if it needs to be removed. Because I feel that the Ukiah Basin and the Willits Basin are independent in terms of their air quality. I think that would be found by a comparison of the stations, which I have done, as my wife is a chemical asthmatic and cannot visit Ukiah in the summertime at all because of the smog there, but is able to operate fine in Willits other than unless there are issues. And with the two potential issues of the Harris Quarry, which could affect both air basins, and of the Willits bypass, which obviously may have, the construction there may have some effect on the Willits Air Basin, I would appreciate maintaining a station there so that we can understand what the air quality issues would continue to be.
Mr. O'Carroll, I also have a speaker card for you for item 9D. That's Public
correct.
Health Week? Okay, so this was separate than that. Thank you. Any other members of the public wishing to speak on air quality issues? Okay. Chris, any additional comments or reports, other business?
No, I think that covers it. And,
okay, all right.
I know, Kendall, did you?
Oh, I'm sorry. Supervisor Smith.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So, Mr. Brown, in terms of the air quality issue and the open burning, could you comment, just as to sort of begin this discussion in a public forum, the potential for biomass to deal with air quality issues with respect to open burning?